May 1, 2025. A signature hits the paper in Washington, and the ripple is felt far beyond diplomatic halls. The U.S. and Ukraine have sealed a landmark minerals deal, one that promises access to critical resources, reconfigures the U.S.-China trade war, puts pressure on Russia, and might just fuel the next phase of the AI revolution. But make no mistake, this isn't just a supply deal. It's a signal flare in the global race for power, technology, and economic survival. Let's unpack what's actually in this deal. After months of high-stakes negotiations, the United States has secured priority access to Ukraine's rare earths, lithium, and titanium, materials that are absolutely vital for electric vehicles, clean energy, advanced weapons systems, and the chips that power AI. Ukraine is estimated to hold 5% of global rare earth reserves, around 500,000 metric tons. Add to that rich veins of lithium and titanium, and you've got a treasure chest of strategic minerals. The structure of the deal is a 50-50 partnership. Ukraine pledges to contribute half of all future state-owned resource revenues to a joint investment fund. In turn, the U.S. leads the capital deployment to rebuild Ukraine's shattered infrastructure. But there's a problem: nearly 40% of those mineral deposits are buried in Russian-occupied territory. And even in Ukraine-controlled areas, 25% of the land, an area larger than South Korea, is still riddled with landmines. Experts say it will take at least 3 to 5 years before commercial-scale output can begin. It's a long-term play. Risky. Expensive. But potentially transformative. Now, this deal doesn't come with military protection. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pushed hard for security guarantees. President Trump said no. Instead, he framed the deal as a financial offset, partially recouping the $183 billion in U.S. aid sent to Ukraine since 2022. While Trump publicly claimed $350 billion, officials quietly admit the number is just over half that. On the geopolitical chessboard, this deal lands squarely in the middle of the U.S.-China trade war. Rare earths have long been China's economic weapon. Beijing controls 70% of global deposits and 90% of processing capacity. In late 2024, China banned select rare earth exports to the U.S., and in April 2025, it tightened those controls further after Washington slapped a 25% tariff on a wide range of Chinese imports. This agreement with Ukraine gives the U.S. a potential alternative supply source. F-35 fighter jets require nearly 900 pounds of rare earth materials each. Electric vehicles, about 10 pounds per unit. Without stable access, America's defense and tech sectors are left vulnerable. But replacing China is not that simple. Ukraine's mining sector is in ruins, and even if materials are extracted, 95% of the world's rare earth refining is still done by China. U.S. companies like MP Materials are scaling up, but they remain years behind. And while Washington looks westward, Beijing is looking south, doubling down on rare earth partnerships in Africa, especially in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The battle over resources is going global. And here's where this story converges with something even bigger: the AI revolution. Artificial intelligence is hungry for semiconductors, those tiny, intricate chips that power models like ChatGPT, Grok, and autonomous driving systems. What many don't realize is that rare earth elements are foundational to chip production. Neodymium magnets, lanthanum polishing compounds, and other rare earths are used throughout the semiconductor manufacturing process. Since China's export restrictions began, chipmakers like NVIDIA and AMD have seen delays and rising costs. NVIDIA's H100 GPU, crucial for training modern AI models, is now months behind schedule. Ukraine's resources could ease this crunch. A stable supply of raw materials would be a massive boost to U.S. chipmakers and AI firms. But again, the materials must be refined. And that supply chain still leads through China and Taiwan. And Taiwan itself is another wildcard. With tensions simmering in the Taiwan Strait, the world's reliance on TSMC, the company that manufactures 60% of global semiconductors, is an ongoing vulnerability. If China escalates there, no amount of Ukrainian minerals will keep the chips flowing. That's why Trump is already proposing tax breaks and fast-track permits for chip manufacturing in the U.S. The minerals deal is just one piece of a much larger industrial policy shift. Meanwhile, Russia is reacting. The Kremlin isn't thrilled that Ukraine is monetizing its buried resources with the U.S., especially when nearly half of them lie beneath land currently controlled by Russian troops. President Putin has already floated offers to partner with U.S. firms in occupied areas, an obvious provocation. The Kremlin also claims Russia's own reserves are larger than Ukraine's, and it continues to market its oil to Europe, hoping to undercut American influence. Let's not forget, Russia still supplies 25% of Europe's crude oil in 2025. And as energy prices surge across the continent, Moscow's leverage is growing. Germany is paying 20% more for gas this year. Poland is hoarding coal. The risk? This deal could prompt Russia to escalate attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure, especially mining and transport facilities. Or, Trump might use it as leverage in peace talks. Either way, this is now a flashpoint in the war. And while all this unfolds, something quietly shifted this week. Trump eased auto tariffs. The original 25% blanket tax on all imported cars and parts is being rolled back. The reason? The U.S. economy contracted 0.3% in the first quarter. American automakers are hurting. Ford posted a $1.2 billion loss last quarter. GM sales fell 15%. And the rare earth shortage, made worse by China's bans, is slamming supply chains. By easing tariffs, Trump is buying time to secure mineral supplies from allies like Ukraine, and to boost domestic mining projects in states like Nevada and Colorado. But those projects face legal roadblocks. Indigenous groups are protesting. Environmental lawsuits are piling up. Even Mountain Pass, the only rare earth mine in the U.S., is facing delays. Zooming out, energy markets are in turmoil. Ukraine's lithium could support up to 1 million electric vehicle batteries per year once production ramps up. That's huge for the green transition. But it will take time. And in the short term, fossil fuels remain dominant. Oil prices jumped to $90 a barrel this week, up 10% in just 1 month. Europe's energy crisis is deepening. The UK is grappling with electricity bills up 40%. France's nuclear plants are operating at just 60% capacity. Ukraine's minerals might stabilize the future, but not today. Today, the world is bracing for higher costs, tighter supplies, and political volatility. Markets are already reacting. Tech stocks have surged. Nvidia and Tesla both jumped 5% since the deal was announced. Mining firms are joining the rally. Freeport McMoRan, which eyes Ukraine's titanium, rose 8%. Australia's Lynas Rare Earths is now in talks with U.S. firms for future partnerships. Meanwhile, China is increasing its own output, up 15% this year alone. And countries like South Africa and Brazil are moving in, offering their minerals to Europe. Japan just announced a $2 billion investment into African rare earth projects. The board is shifting fast. So what's the broader impact? This isn't just about trade. It's not just about chips. This is about strategic dominance. The U.S. Ukraine minerals deal has opened a new front in the battle for global power. It connects energy security, technology, war strategy, and the future of industry. It's about who supplies the inputs that drive the 21st century. And now, the stakes are global. From AI labs in Silicon Valley to oil terminals in Rotterdam. From mining sites in Donetsk to chip fabs in Phoenix. This is the race to control the backbone of everything: energy, information, defense, and mobility. Thanks for tuning in to FluxFolio Finance. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Is this a turning point for U.S. economic power, or just another gamble on unstable ground? Let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next episode.